It was one of those serene mornings when the sun's rays slipped softly through the window blinds. Slow and golden. On the dining table, I spotted an envelope, my name written in precise, unmistakable handwriting. At first, I thought it might be a quick note. Maybe he stepped out early for a work meeting or gone to check in on his sister. But the house felt unnaturally still. His coat was missing from its usual hook by the door, and the bed was left unmade, a rare thing for someone as orderly as him. A tightness began to twist in my chest as I reached for the envelope, my fingers hesitating, sensing the weight of what might be inside. Something in me already knew this wasn't a casual message. When I finally opened it, the first words I saw stole my breath. "Goodbye, Elise." The pages that followed weren't angry or dramatic. They were composed, deliberate, and deeply personal. In them, he wrote of truths he'd quietly carried for months. He had known. He had noticed the late nights that weren't really about work, the lingering scent of a stranger's cologne on me when I came home. He'd seen it all. The whispered calls I took behind closed doors, the too long showers, the flimsy stories about drinks with co-workers that never quite held up. He hadn't needed to accuse or demand. He'd simply watched it unfold, connecting the dots. What gutted me most was realizing he'd waited. Not in ignorance, but in hope. Hope that I might find the courage to come clean, to choose honesty over deceit. That unspoken patience, that quiet belief that I might do the right thing, struck deeper than any confrontation would have. He had left space for me to return, to make amends, and I had walked right past it. In his words, I saw how he'd tried to hold on, even as he felt me slipping away into someone he no longer recognized. Every small lie had taken a toll on him, wearing away at the foundation of what we'd built. His letter didn't blame or lash out. It was filled with sadness, the kind that comes when love remains, but the person no longer does. He wrote that he wasn't leaving out of anger, but because he couldn't watch us rot into bitterness. He loved me too much to let our relationship become something poisonous. He chose to walk away, even knowing it would break his own heart in the process. I collapsed onto the kitchen floor, the letter trembling in my hands as tears streamed down my face. It wasn't just regret. It was a profound, aching awareness of what I had lost. I had thrown away something enduring, something pure, for fleeting indulgences that never meant anything real. This was the man who made me tea when I couldn't sleep, who stayed up listening to my fears, who always toasted my bread to the exact shade I liked, who kissed my forehead every night without fail. All the little gestures I had taken for granted suddenly burned with meaning. I had once thought he didn't truly see me, but he saw everything. He saw me, clearly, painfully, completely, and still he had loved me. I tried to reach him. His number had been disconnected. My texts went unanswered. Emails bounced back. I even went to his office, only to hear he'd taken a leave of absence with no return date. It was then that I understood. He hadn't just left. He had carefully, deliberately chosen to vanish from the life we had made, not out of vengeance, but to protect himself from the slow decay of what we had become. The days that followed blurred together in a fog of sorrow. I played every moment back in my mind. The nights I dodged his questions, the meals we ate in silence, the times he asked if I was all right, and I lied with a tired smile. Somewhere deep down, I had known he felt it, but I hadn't stopped. I hadn't chosen him. I held on to a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, he would come back, that we could talk. But the silence stretched longer. A friend later mentioned he'd moved away to a quiet coastal town. He didn't talk about me, didn't say anything cruel, just that it hadn't worked out. That was it. Eventually, I wrote him a letter, not with excuses or justifications. Only the truth I should have told him long before, that I still loved him, that I had failed him, that I had broken something precious, because I didn't know how to protect it. I sent it, knowing I likely wouldn't hear back. And I didn't. He had already spoken his final words. Now, his letter lives in a small wooden box tucked away in a drawer I rarely open. But when I do, it reminds me of what love can be: quiet, patient, seeing everything even when nothing is said, and how easily it can be lost if not held with care. I didn't know he saw through me until it was too late. By then, he was already gone.